Despite having all the potential to be a blockbuster, Furiosa: A Mad Max Saga failed horribly. It failed pretty much as bad as a movie could ever fail. It received a fair bit of hatred online during its marketing and theatrical runs, and it lost so much money that the next Mad Max movie, the one the franchise creator already wrote, will probably never get made. This came in stark contrast to the overwhelmingly positive reception of the previous installment of the franchise, Mad Max Fury Road. Back in 2015, this movie raked in nearly $400 million at the box office and received 6 Oscars, 9 Critics' Choice Awards, and most prestigious of all, a Gold Star from me. Furiosa: A Mad Max Saga was announced in 2020 as an origin story for the character Furiosa, the co-lead of Fury Road played by the timeless fine-ass badass Tom Hardy with Charlize Theron, and this was set for a 2024 release. What followed was a not entirely unpredictable crash and burn of epic proportions, made all the more frustrating by the fact that the movie itself was genuinely good. So what happened? First off, Furiosa came out almost a decade after Fury Road. Now this isn't inherently a huge problem, but it is in this case specifically for 2 reasons. 1, it's a spin-off. You can't just do nothing for almost 10 years and let your universe fade from the collective moviegoer conscience and then expect to garner a lot of excitement for a new movie that doesn't even feature the character who the entire franchise is named after. It would be like if 10 years after Terminator 2, the franchise owners made a TV show about Sarah Connor instead of just making another good Terminator movie. Oh wait, they did, and it got cancelled after 2 seasons because, surprise surprise, nobody watched it, even though it was good and Sarah Connor's a good character, whatever. 2, the time gap meant that Furiosa, a movie with a female main character and primarily male audience, just happened to release during the peak of the woke versus anti-woke conflict. If Furiosa came out just a couple years after Fury Road, then the perceived wokeness of the movie would not have been a factor, people would have remembered how badass the character is and how dope the franchise is, and things might have been different. But instead, Furiosa released in 2024, so people took one look at this, and they were like,
oh, it stinks.
Yeah, and then they didn't watch it. And so, despite being mostly free of any pandering, insincerity, or clumsy social commentary, Furiosa was labeled as such and therefore shunned by both internet losers and some average moviegoers alike. Collateral damage in a brutal war.
Why does man got to pick up sticks against another man? Ain't nothing but a thing.
The second problem leading up to release was the trailers, because the trailers showcased a fair amount of girl power, which I want to emphasize should not be a problem but was a mistake for the aforementioned reasons, and a lot of CGI, which was a problem because one of Fury Road's and the Mad Max franchise as a whole, one of its claims to fame is heavy use of practical effects. And although they did fuck up in a variety of other ways, it's difficult to put too much blame on the marketing team for the second point because Furiosa is just simply a more CGI heavy movie. Even the shots where the central action is all practical, there's a lot of very aggressive touch-ups and visual enhancements to the point where a lot of the shots could be mistaken as entirely CGI even when they're not. In the movie, the visual style works very well, and I'll talk about that a bit more later, but in the trailers it's pretty off-putting, especially if you're expecting the more grungy, gritty realism that you saw in the last movie. So non-Mad Max fans were put off because there was too much estrogen in the trailers, and Mad Max fans were put off because Furiosa looked so different from the previous movies and seemingly neglected an essential part of the Mad Max DNA. And so even with all this marketing, I mean, they even got Damian Lillard to do some ads.
If there's any doubt about who has the maddest wheels in the game, remember who's riding around like Furiosa.
Don't know whose idea that was. Anyways, they spent all this money on marketing, all this money actually making the movie, and when it released, it bombed. Like, it bombed. And this was not a cheap movie. In fact, it was far too expensive. Analysts said Furiosa would need to make somewhere around 400 mil just to break even, and it didn't even make half that. It's possible it didn't even make back its production budget. The media called it the biggest Warner Bros. Flop of the year. It released at the same time as the Garfield movie, and Furiosa lost that matchup. It was the most disrespectful shit I've ever seen. Garf got George Miller in shambles. Go back to Happy Feet, little bro.
If you put a gun to my head and said you have to come up with a story for Happy Feet 3, I'd say shoot me.
Like, do you imagine, again, his backstory being even further on kind of the side of, like...
But seriously, this movie absolutely face-planting like it did, it hurt. Not because it was in any way unexpected, but because it's just such a unique and genuinely great movie. Everybody who saw it had great things to say, the critics were fans too, it was really popular when it released on streaming, so it's hard not to feel that under different circumstances, this movie could have been a hit. Now, this isn't to say that the movie is perfect, because it's not. There's some problems. Starting with the runtime. Holy God, there is no reason this movie should be 2.5 hours long. That was undoubtedly a deterrent for some people. Next up, the casting. The main character is played by Anya Taylor-Joy, but in Fury Road, she was played by Charlize Theron. So that's problem number 2, because she
a very delicate little flower.
is not her. And no amount of makeup and forced perspective is going to convince me otherwise. This character really requires a certain look because she's very stoic. She's not speaking all that much. The actress needs to be able to command the scene silently. And I'm not trying to say that Anya Taylor-Joy doesn't do a good job, because she does. Whenever she's the central focus of a scene, she can capture the character and the character's intensity because she's a great actress. But other times, it's just not the same. So you get lines like this.
That is the darkest of angels. The fifth rider of the apocalypse.
That just come off as corny, because it just, like, come on now, this is who you're talking about? Really? Also, visually, there's some problems. Like, look at this. The truck isn't fake, the actors aren't fake, but somehow it all just looks fake. Like, the texturing and the lighting on the actors is completely wrong. Apparently, they had problems with the weather during shooting, and they had to use more green screen than they wanted to in some shots, so there you go. But again, these are just a select few scenes that I'm talking about. The CGI does not consistently distract from the movie or the action at all. In fact, on the contrary, it enhances it the majority of the time. At the end of the day, this is a tight movie. There are no really big problems, just a few things, or I'll be honest, a handful of things that you can nitpick. Okay, now let me yap for a second about how great this movie is. No spoilers, I'll keep it brief, just put a timer up. Visually speaking, the majority of this movie is striking. It's got such a unique style, everything looks so surreal and dramatic, almost like an oil painting, but the physics of the cars and everything are almost always correct because they did those things practically. And the level of detail is just impeccable. It's one of those rare movies where you can tell that everything in the world, the settings, the characters, the language, every little thing is such personality and belongs exactly where it is because it's all been thought through completely.
Just because we're in an impoverished world, it doesn't mean people stop making beautiful things.
I love you, George. Next up, the acting is fantastic. Like I said, Anya Taylor-Joy does a great job, but really the star of the show is Chris Hemsworth. It is not fair that bro looks like this, and he's as charming and he's as talented. Like, fuck you. No, but for real, every time he's on screen, it's all him. He dominates. Even when that's not what the scene demands from him, he still kills it. Lastly, the movie is so intense. Just watch this scene. I just pissed my pants. The action in this movie is phenomenally unhinged. It is so creative and engaging, but at the same time it's not hard to follow because the cuts and camera placements are so well thought out. In time. That's a PB. Possibly the most upsetting part of this whole story is the fact that the Mad Max franchise is now effectively at a standstill, despite having so much more room to grow. It's clear that the aesthetic and the character both have wide appeal, and the expansiveness of the world and episodic nature of the series would lend itself really well to continued development and more diverse storytelling more often. And although Furiosa did have its set of obstacles, given the quality and originality of the movie and its obvious popularity on streaming, it's hard not to feel that under different circumstances the movie could have succeeded and propelled the franchise towards that potential. But frustratingly, it didn't. Anyways, if you like the video, you know what to do. I want to make videos about a very wide variety of topics: movies, music, sports, math and science, etc. If that sounds cool, tell me about it, and if you just want more content like this, tell me that too. And Furiosa is streaming on Max and Apple TV right now. Go watch it. It's a very good movie, and you don't need to watch any of the other Mad Max movies to enjoy it. In fact, I'd actually recommend watching this one before the last one if you're new to the series. And thank you for watching. I'll catch you later, maybe, and we'll see how this video does.